So Harrison Ford was at this convention at San Francisco the other day about climate change, and the Newsweek and a bunch of other news agencies are broadcasting what he said, and he's like, listen to this in bold or impassioned speech he has about climate change, and in it he's like, quit voting for people who don't believe in science. And I would actually take your message more seriously if your hobby wasn't flying planes. Like, if your hobby consists or of you using up massive amounts of fuel as a hobby, then clearly the issue that you're bringing up you don't take too seriously yourself. Because it seems like all these celebrities, like Leonardo DiCaprio, this guy, they want all of us to live like peasants from the 1800s while they go around flying in their jet from country to country, city to city, telling us to start using less energy and to vote for people more like Obama and Justin Trudeau, who are going to make all these ridiculous regulations that are going to scare businesses overseas and then further globalization and even more. So no, do not vote for people who believe in climate change. Vote for people like Trump, who are going to remove a lot of the ridiculous regulations that are preventing businesses from coming to America and prospering. Now, I'm not saying, oh, let's start to pour oil into the oceans and start to kill off all of these near extinct animals. But a lot of the regulations that were in place before were ridiculous. Like, Obama was protecting these huge swaths of land, like deserts, where there's like a toad or like one little animal. He's like, oh, you can't develop here. The same thing is going on in Canada with Trudeau and the recent regulations. I'm pretty sure Shell, their company, is pulling out entirely because they're like, because of the new regulations, we can't make a profit here anymore. So we gotta go. So that's, I don't know how many jobs lost. And considering Canada, United States, North America, we produce some of the cleanest energy out there. So making a ton of regulations here to make it so it's not even feasible to produce anymore, these places will still produce energy. They're just going to go and do it in markets that are cheaper, that have less regulation. So there's going to be even more pollution. It's just going to be somewhere else. It's going to be out of sight, out of mind. And a lot of companies, they're willing to contest with some regulations as long as they can have access to the Canadian market. Like, they will deal with more regulations here than in another country, like, I don't know, China or whatever, because they want to sell to our market. But if we go overboard and have way too many, then they're going to leave, like they just did, like the pipeline deal fucked up this year. So a lot of this climate change action propaganda that they're pushing is just for more government control of land, of resources, and really it's helping globalists and businesses overseas outside of the country, and it's also going to drive up the need for more socialism, more social programs to take care of people because there are no longer jobs around. So they just want to create more and more and more need for them to exist, for you to feel like you need their protection. They're going to import more and more cheap labor from different cultures, and when all these cultures do not mix and meld together, there's going to be even more reason for you to need the government to come and protect you against this group or against this group, because now there's all this excess amounts of violence because we have like a bunch of Muslims living here, a bunch of Sikhs living here, a bunch of Nigerians here, Canadians, white Canadians here. So it's like, everything they're really doing is just ensuring they have a job for the future. And, people like Harrison Ford, they're just paid off. They're little puppets for people like Trudeau, for these environmentalists, to go and to convince people that they have a moral obligation to go and vote for a liberal to save the planet. You know, they're the ones who do the most amount of fear-mongering out there. Like, Trump pulled out of the Paris Agreement. They literally said, like, millions of people are going to die from this, just by Trump pulling out of the Paris Agreement, where really in reverse, he's probably saving a lot of lives by pulling out. Same with if all these other countries pulled out as well, because all this whole Paris climate agreement, it's just a huge way to transfer wealth from richer countries to poorer countries, and we all know how that works out. Usually that country ends up worse in the end, and we're just going to be giving them money to overpopulate, and then when they have so many people, it's not sustainable anymore. There's going to be massive starvations, massive amounts of people are going to die, and they're going to be trying to get into Europe, or they're going to go first in other African countries to have refuge there, and then those services will go out of whack, and then there's going to be crazy carnage there. So it's like they're just creating more problems down the road. Whereas if we got out, stopped giving all of this money to different countries to stop climate change, it would probably be better for them in the long run, because we all know that a lot of this money is not going to be going to that. It's going to be going to the governments, and they have massively corrupt governments that are going to take a lot of that money for themselves, or they're going to waste it on things that we don't actually need, or initiatives that aren't going to actually work. Like Obama invested all those hundreds of millions in that, not solar panel, but I think it was a wind energy thing a couple years ago, Solyndra or something, I can't fully remember, but it completely failed, just like a lot of the other things that they're proposing is going to fail. But like I said, it has nothing to do with helping people and stopping global warming. It's just so they can transfer wealth. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.